Pamela, story archetypes and the qualities that these archetypes must possess?
What I work with is a system that is in the deeper and more advanced spiritual teachings, which if you're studying the mystery schools or you get deeper into Buddhism or mystic Christianity or mystic Islam, you find this a group of 5 archepaths. And it's the warrior, the monk or the ascetic, the scientist, the magician, and the lover. These paths are the way that you approach life and how you react to life. And all of the wonderful archetypes that people use, they can come under any of those archepaths. So you can have the mother warrior, the mother lover. You can have the martyr monk, which is pretty typical, somebody on that priestly line. You can have the martyr scientist, someone who's made this wonderful invention and nobody believes them. And they go to great lengths in order to prove what they do. So the archetypes can fall under any of these 5 archepaths. And there are 3 levels for each archepath, just as there are in many initiatory systems, whether it's Masonry or a lot of the mystery schools, even our educational system. You've got usually 3 things. You've got grade school, middle school, high school, and then you go on, of course, to your further education. But the first level for the archepaths is that entry level. It's the soldier, it's the nun, it's the student who is going to become the scientist, it's the sorcerer's apprentice. And in love, I think what's so interesting is the first level of the lover is the fan. The person who is alone. They're not with the beloved or the one they want, but it's this yearning towards. And then the second level up is those who have got it pretty much under control. Then you've got the warrior, you've got the priestess, you have the scientist, and you have the magician, and you have someone in a wonderful loving relationship. So there's 2 now in the lovers. Then the third level is where you start to get a bit more abstract. And most of your characters are going to be on those first 2 levels of the archepaths and making their character arcs from one to another or crossing paths. Because at the very highest, you've got the regent in the warrior path. So you've got the empress or the king, that height, and their influence is huge. Whereas at that first level, you're just a soldier. You don't have much influence at all. So it's about going up that scale of influence and how they will affect other characters. And then on the priestly line, you've got high priest, high priestess. In the scientist, you have the philosopher. Yeah, I thought that was interesting when I first learned about that. But it makes sense, someone who studies the world and studies people and studies the cosmos, you've got to be thinking of why and what's it all for and what is our part here. So the scientist who becomes the philosopher then, that's the pinnacle of that particular path. And you see it a lot in, let's say the series Cosmos, whether it was Carl Sagan or the new one with Neil deGrasse Tyson, right? They're philosophizing as well as presenting the science. The magician, of course, it's the Magus, it's Gandalf the White and Saruman on the dark side. And then for the lover, it's the one who has united with spirituality. They may be physically alone again, but they are connected so much to the higher self, the higher spiritual realm. Because all of these are said to be paths towards enlightenment, ultimately. Although a lot of times when you're in the lower aspects of it, you don't know, you're just doing your thing and trying to become, well, sometimes a better priestess. Sometimes you just want to learn the science to take advantage of things. So you can get dark and light on any of those. But by using those 5 archepaths, then we have character profiles for each of them that give the strengths and the weaknesses, the hopes, the fears, styles of speaking, styles of acting. So you can tweak your dialogue then. If it's along someone on the warrior path, they're going to speak differently. They will say the same thing, but in a different way with different words. So it's a wonderful tool that doesn't get so complex as all the different archetypes. And there's some good work out there and some good books with the archetypes, but I find it's much easier to work with the archepaths and then plug your archetypes into that if you want. Or there are also archetypes, but they are the archepaths. And those character profiles then complement the steps up and down. And you've got a really good possibility for drama. You know, you've got the priest over here and the scientist over here. Well, that conflict's been going on forever. And you know, the lover and the warrior. So it's really a wonderful way to use archetypes in creating story, characters, and dramatic conflict.